Hello everyone! Today on Binky's Gaming Thoughts, I'm going to delve into the Chant of Light in order to search for clues and evidence that can either prove my theories right or wrong. And I'm trying something new today as well because I'm using the laptop directly in order to save on paper. Let me know if it works for you. So today I'm going to look into the Canticle of Andraste. So obviously we know that the Chant of Light is the tale and teaching of Andraste for all the Andrastians, the religion that most people in Thedas follow. And she was the prophet and bride of the Maker, and the Chant of Light is comprised of chants for the religion of the Chantry. So it was written after Andraste's death, more notably by the first divine, Justinia I. However, there have been changes to the chant, even in this canonical chant, more notably the Canticle of Chant that was removed, written after the Exalted March on the Dales in the early Glory Age. Some of the verses were struck out completely from the accepted chant and are referred to today as the dissonant verses. Alright, so Andraste, prophet and bride of the Maker, to whom the Maker first appeared and to whom the Maker only appeared, thus making her name the base of the religion's name. And all those who follow the religion of the chant call themselves Andrastians. But of course, you already knew that. Alright, so Andraste 1. The general address and greeting in the chant in the Canticle of Andraste. Hear now, Andraste, daughter of Brona, spear maid of Alamar, to valiant hearts sing of victory waiting, yet to be claimed from the steel bond forgers of Baron Tavine. Alright, so Brona was Andraste's mother, who became one of her first disciples. Alamari are the ancestors of the Feraldans, and Tavine is the official language of the Tevinter Imperium, and has long since ceased to be the main spoken language. So here we are calling Andraste's spirit in hope of victory against Tevinter, simply put. Andraste seeks an end to the suffering of the Alamari. Great heroes beyond counting raised oak and iron against chains of Northmen and walked the lonely worm roads evermore. Northmen, it's most likely Tevinter here, the Vints, since they were at war with the Imperium, so it's kind of obvious. Mighty of arm and warmest of heart, rendered to dust, bitter is sorrow, ate raw and often, poison that weakens and does not kill. So Andraste is describing how the sorrow made her people weak, because emotions such as sadness and depression make a person unmotivated and have less will to fight, to defend, therefore more vulnerable to becoming a casualty of war, which is a vicious cycle. She continues. Why must the shield of Alamar shatter, neath bond and blade? To the wisest I sang, to the winged cup bearers of the tall sky vaulting, to the wintry halls of strong mountain kings, where in days forgotten, voices there raised, might the gifted answer and those seeking find. So here Andraste is obviously looking for a solution, as she's traveling everywhere, from what I gather, to call to her gods. I think that wintry halls of strong mountain kings might be the Frostback Mountains. The description fits more or less. The Alamari gods do not answer. From sky-tearing peaks of the sacred mountain to secret steeped roots of the ancient oak trees, a lonesome choir, I, song failing unanswered, voice on wind returning, answered no more. Alright, so obviously she's given up here. The sacred mountain, I believe that's Haven, or somewhere in the premises around the Frostback Mountains, where later the urn of sacred ashes would be buried. If she mentions the wintry halls in the previous verse, maybe it's because that's where she stopped and where she loses hope happens to be there in Haven. It would make sense because that would be where the sacred ashes were then afterwards buried. Andraste despairs for her people. In heart's drumming I heard footsteps thundering, shield brothers and spear sisters distant raised, blade to shackle bearer, valiant of spirit blazing like starshine, to battle they charged, none to return to the lands of their mothers, by cruel magic taken, ice, lightning, and flame. So obviously the Magisters are using their magic to defeat everyone, all their forms of magic, and they're defeating the Alamari people. Should for all season laments ring the sky vaults, should dirges all sages and histories replace, by gods forsaken, fate emptied of hope, wounded I fell then, by grief arrow-studded, never to heal, death for me to come. So she's given up, like, for sure, like big time. She thinks she's gonna die. If she's in at Haven or the Frostback Mountains, obviously it's cold, so she thinks it's the end of the world for her. The Maker appears to Andraste. Eyes sorrow blinded, in darkness unbroken. So it must be night, and obviously she's been crying so much, it's blurry, and she really doesn't see much. Thereupon the mountain, a voice answered my call. Heart that is broken, beats still unceasing. An ocean of sorrow does nobody drown. You have forgotten, spear maid of Alamar. Within my creation, none are alone. So a god's reassurance to gain an ally before abandoning everyone, because the Maker abandoned everyone. It did the job because he obviously had her lead the people. They follow him. Everybody believes in the Maker. And this was his beginning to establish his belief system with Andraste to reel her in to get her to be his prophet. And he's establishing that none who believe in him are alone. Andraste continues, Lo, my eyes opened, shining before me, greater than mountains, towering mighty, hand all outstretched, stars glistening as jewels, from rings upon his fingers and crown upon his brow. All right, let's see here. Jewels, rings, crown upon his brow. Perhaps. Well, we certainly know who the better looking one of the two is. Red Lyrium will aid you. This is following my theory that the Maker is a Darkspawn, obviously. But let's explore some of your theories as well. The Maker as a Titan. Well, he would certainly be taller than a mountain, but it doesn't say anything about shining blue. Only about stars and jewels, which usually is gold and yellow, and Darkspawn seem to have kind of like gold. I don't know. Just saying. Sword-shattering fear filled me overflowing. Well, I'd be freaking out if this had just appeared to me. Or this. Grandeur of godhood no gaze should defile. Trembling, I called out, Forgive me, Most High. I should sing your name to the heights of heaven, but I know it not, and must be silent. The wellspring of all said, None now remember. Long have they turned to idols and tales away from my light. In darkness unbroken, the last of my children shrouded in night. So reasons and justifications to why no one knows him, also establishing that the old gods are false gods, and he's kind of covering his bases. World fell away then, misty in memory, cross veil and into the valley of dreams, a vision of all worlds, waking and slumbering, spirit and mortal, to me appeared. Look to my work, said the voice of creation. See what my children in arrogance wrought. So ultimately, the Maker showed Andraste the veil and things in the Fade. Those of you who believe Solus to be the Maker are probably loving this little tidbit because it could prove that he is? And we know of one Dreadwolf who has much ease himself, slipping into and out of the Fade through time and all the stories about the Dreadwolf as well. Although I don't really see how it fits with the rest and other little tidbits I found in here. It does, however, create confusion among us speculators. Let's move on. There I saw the Black City, towers all stained. Yes, if the Maker had seen the Black City, it would be fresh in his memory, and therefore he would have ease bringing Andraste through the Fade into his dream, into his memory. So she could be seeing basically his memory. Gates once wrought golden, forever shut. Heaven filled with silence. Then did I know all, and crossed my heart with unbearable shame. Why does she feel shame? She didn't do any of this. I don't get it. Andraste begs to the Maker to give mortals another chance. Then did I see the world spread before me, sky-reaching mountains arrayed as a crown, kingdoms like jewels, glistening gemstones strung across the earth as a necklace of pearl. All this is yours, spake the world Maker. Join me in heaven and sorrow no more, and together we can rule the galaxy. Sorry. World-making glory, I cried out in sorrow. How shall your children apology make? We have forgotten, in ignorance stumbling. Only a light in this darkened time breaks. Call to your children, teach us your greatness. What has been forgotten has not yet been lost. So, whichever true or false, Andraste is hooked and buying it, and she is desperate to receive his teachings, and so that she can spread his teachings, he can spread his teachings, and people can gobble it up. Long was his silence, for it was broken. For you, song weaver, once more I will try. Okay, every good manipulator in reality TV uses this tactic to give the impression that they had never intended to do something that they actually wanted to do, that they actually did intend on doing, and then make it appear as though it's for that person alone, so that they owe them. So reel them in and then use them to gain traction to achieve your goals that you're trying to achieve, and make that person owe you. To my children venture, carrying wisdom. If they but listen, I shall return. And then people can blame each other for him not returning, saying, you didn't listen. No, you didn't listen. Your mom didn't listen. And then everybody claims that everybody didn't listen, which perfectly justifies why he never returned, which is his reasoning, but not the real reasoning, according to my theory anyway. Andraste 7. Let the blade pass through the flesh. Let my blood touch the ground. Let my cries touch their hearts. Let mine be the last sacrifice. Is this blood magic, or am I imagining things? I don't know. Those who oppose thee shall know the wrath of heaven. The name of the events at the Temple of Sacred Ashes when it exploded, kaboom, at the hands of Corypheus, doing his ritual with the elven orb left by Solus for him to find. So who was opposing whom here? Whose wrath set it off? Elven orb. Solus Maker believers are probably pointing at Fen'Harel. I'm just analyzing here while all these theories here are getting mixed up. It's chaotic. Maker of chaos. I'm repeating myself. I like to do that. Field and forest shall burn. The seas shall rise and devour them. The wind shall tear their nations from the face of the earth. lightning shall rain down from the sky. They shall cry out to their false gods and find silence. They were crying out to the Maker too, and found silence. So is he a false god too then? Self-prophecy? You know, perhaps it's a clue that the Maker is a false god. Andraste 14. Here lies the abyss, the well of all souls. From these emerald waters doth life begin anew. Come to me, child, and I shall embrace you. In my arms lies eternity. All right, so there are a lot of tidbits in this little verse. Here lies the abyss is the name of the main mission in Inquisition. Well of all souls sounds like the well of sorrows because the well of sorrows has souls and the waters are emerald, and life does begin anew if you think about it, because those old souls give new knowledge to whomever drinks from the well. It also sounds like the verse of a dying person entering the fade. All right, so this wraps it up for the Canticle of Andraste. So let me know what you think of the laptop, and let me know what clues you gathered from these verses, tidbits I may have missed, and write them down in the comments. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at BinkyProd, hit the like button and share the video, and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Masaranas. Even in this canonical